How's it going, everybody? This is Dominic Minchella. I am the Kansas City Chiefs co-beat writer for On SI and the host of the Kansas City Chiefs Insider Podcast. Thank you guys so much for stopping in once again. If you did miss yesterday's podcast, we featured our other co-beat writer, Zach Gilbert, once again. As a reminder, if you were unsure or forgot, Zach will be joining us on the podcast 2 times a week as the season progresses. He is the boots on the ground coverage of the Kansas City Chiefs. He will be at every single home game. He will be a guy that is super beneficial to have on this team, and I'm looking forward to working with him even more. But for today's purposes, when it comes to the podcast, we are going to be talking about, in my opinion, the room that has the most depth. If you might remember me talking about earlier on the podcast, I believe it was this week, my main concern with the offense for the Kansas City Chiefs resided in the running back room, a room that consists of Elijah Mitchell, Kareem Hunt, Isaiah Pacheco, and Brashard Smith. Seeing that how it was performed last season, especially in Pacheco's absence, Kareem Hunt did a good job in picking up the ball, but I think that going into this season, when looking at everything on paper, there's a lot to prove in that room. However, there is a room that doesn't necessarily need a whole lot of improvement, in hopes rather to stay steady from week 1 to week 18 and hopefully into the playoffs should the Kansas City Chiefs make it. Ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, is the tight end room. A room that consists of Travis Kelce, future Hall of Famer Travis Kelce. Behind him, Noah Gray. You also have got Jared Wiley and Robert Tonyan being brought back and added to the 53-man roster. Tonyan, that is, had an outstanding preseason. He's a veteran guy. Head coach Andy Reid loves him. You can see that he wants to contribute and be a huge factor in helping Kansas City find its way back to the playoffs and the top of the AFC West division. But going into this offseason, following the 2024 campaign, there was a lot of concern surrounding this position, especially around Travis Kelce. Now, as we've seen throughout the preseason and throughout training camp as well as OTAs, Travis Kelce might be on his last leg, but that doesn't mean that his last hurrah in the NFL, should he hang up the cleats at season's end, is going to be another display of digression on his part in production. We've seen a lot of Travis Kelce throughout the years in a Kansas City Chiefs uniform. And as we know, even though he hasn't been the player who has surpassed 1,000 receiving yards in 2 seasons now, that does not make him any less of a player or a tight end. He's still getting close to the 900 receiving yards. And as a head coach, you got to see that and know that it is a thing of to note, especially. You also got a guy in Noah Gray who is likely or could have the chance to see his stock increase this season. Keep in mind that Noah Gray was extended recently for the foreseeable future. Should Travis Kelce hang up the cleats, I believe that Noah Gray could be a guy that could step right into that role and become a huge playmaker for the Chiefs in the future. We've seen him progress every single season that he's donned a Chiefs uniform. Last season, he had his best season, totaling 5 touchdowns for the first time in his career, 2 more than Travis Kelce had. He also had 437 receiving yards, and he's just an Iron Man. He never misses a game, so to say. I think that they're a good 1-2 punch. The veteran leadership of Travis Kelce with the emerging growth and of leadership in Noah Gray. I think that there's a lot of upside in those 2 players, especially for this season, more so in Noah Gray should he take over for Travis Kelce in the future. And also keep in mind, folks, that we don't know if Travis Kelce is retiring after this season or not, though he does have a lot of things to take care of, rather, off of the field, whether it be his podcast or figuring out wedding plans with Taylor Swift. But he could be a guy, if it is his last season, to keep an eye on. You've also got Jared Wiley, a guy who is likely to be brought in and, kind of molded back into the offensive game. A guy who has dealt with a big injury last season, but he strived this offseason, saying that he's going to fight hard. Ever since he got injured, he and his personal trainer and PT and all that, they said they set out a goal for themselves to be ready by training camp. And you know exactly what Jared Wiley did. He made that goal a reality. He made sure that he found a way to help his team and show the coaches, whether that be on the offensive side of the ball or the defensive side of the ball, because keep in mind, during the first training camp sessions, the Chiefs defense went up against the Chiefs offense. He is a player that has a lot of upside, in my opinion, a guy who is likely to see the ball more. He was only able to play in a handful of games last season, but I do think that it is smart for the Kansas City Chiefs to kind of ease him back into that role, whether it be in a depth piece. He is listed as the third tight end on the depth chart on ESPN. However, that could be very interchangeable with Robert Tonyan. As you remember, I was saying earlier in the podcast, Robert Tonyan is a guy, another veteran in this tight end room that I think would have the potential to climb the ranks within targets for the Kansas City Chiefs this season. Whether that be from Patrick Mahomes or Gardner Minshew throwing the football, I think that a guy in Robert Tonyan who has NFL experience and he let it show in training camp, a guy who has a career high in receiving yards of 586. Last season, he had 112 with the Chicago Bears. I do think that we've seen the upside and we've seen the low end for Robert Tonyan. For the Kansas City Chiefs fans and, just the internally, you're looking for a guy who is going into his 8th season in the National Football League, just over the age of 30, to be another leader for this tight end room while producing for them. Back in 2020 with the Green Bay Packers, he played in 16 games, had 52 receptions and 59 targets, similar to how Noah Gray's season went last year. If you remember, whenever the target was Noah Gray, he brought in the football more often than he did not, that is. And he had 586 receiving yards, 11.3 average receiving yards, and scored 11 touchdowns. Now, I'm not saying that Robert Tonyan has to be that type of player, but knowing that he's on the roster and shares the depth chart alongside Travis Kelce, Noah Gray, and Jared Wiley should only make Chiefs fans feel more confident, knowing that if this is the end of Travis Kelce, with a good year from Tonyan, a good year from Gray, and an improved year from Jared Wiley, especially in the health department, the tight end situation in Kansas City could be in good hands. But obviously, we've got to get through the 2025 campaign first. That being said, though, ladies and gentlemen, as always, be sure you follow me over on X at Dom Minchella. I post and repost every single day all coverage of the Kansas City Chiefs as we get closer to the regular season. Week 1 is against the Los Angeles Chargers in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and you're not going to want to miss any coverage. You should also follow us over at KC Chiefs on SI, where we post every single story by our talented writing staff. You're not going to want to miss it. It is exclusively free to you, the public. Kansas City Chiefs on SI is a place to get your Chiefs news. That being said, as always, ladies and gentlemen, be kind to one another, and I will see you tomorrow.